All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a formula that literally turned the financial world on its head, the Black-Scholes model. Now, this was a Nobel Prize-winning idea that promised to do something people thought was, well, pretty much impossible. I mean, really think about this for a second. How do you actually put a price tag on the future? How do you figure out the exact value of a chance to buy something tomorrow at a price you lock in today? Before the 1970s, this was just chaos. So, how did they figure it out? Let's get into it.
Okay, so picture this. It's the early 1970s. The market for financial options is exploding, but nobody has a clue how to reliably price them. It's the Wild West. And then along come these three guys, Fisher Black, Myron Scholes, and Robert Merton. And they create this beautiful mathematical framework that brings some serious order to all that chaos.
So, they published their groundbreaking paper way back in 1973. But look at this. It took more than 2 decades for the world to fully catch up. The Nobel Prize wasn't awarded until 1997, and it went to Scholes and Merton. And that's because, so tragically, Fisher Black had passed away just 2 years before.
And you know, Myron Scholes himself said it best. He made it crystal clear that Black's contribution was absolutely essential. This quote, it just really shows you the human side behind one of the biggest breakthroughs in finance. So what was this magic formula they came up with? Let's take a look.
So, you hear Nobel-winning formula, and you probably picture something impossibly complex, right? Well, the math behind it is intense, but the model itself, it's kind of like a recipe with just 5 main ingredients. So, let's break down what's in this thing.
Okay, here they are, the 5 key inputs. First, you need the stock's current price. Easy enough. Then the option strike price. That's the price you agree to buy or sell at. Got it. Number 3, how much time is left till it expires. And 4, the risk-free interest rate. You know, what you'd get from a super safe government bond. Now those first 4, they're all numbers you can just look up. They're concrete. But then you get to that 5th ingredient, the stock's volatility. And this, my friends, is where things get really interesting.
So what is volatility? Simply put, it's just a measure of how much a stock's price is expected to jump around. But here's the absolute kicker. It is the only ingredient in this entire recipe that you cannot see. You can't look it up, you have to estimate it. And that one little fact, that this crucial input is just a guess, is the key to understanding both the model's incredible genius and its biggest, most dangerous flaws.
Right, so for this recipe to give you the perfect result every single time, it needs to be cooked in a perfect kitchen. The model has to operate in its own little perfect world, where a very strict set of rules are always followed. The model's entire accuracy hangs on these assumptions being true.
And this is where you really see the clash between the neat world of theory and the messy real world. The model assumes volatility never changes. It's constant. But in our world, come on, it's changing every second. The model thinks prices move in these smooth, gentle waves. We know they can jump off a cliff because of one piece of news. The model lives in this fantasy land with no trading fees, no taxes. The real world is just so much messier.
So what happens when this elegant, beautiful theory smacks right into the messy, unpredictable reality of the market? What happens when those perfect world rules get broken? Well, the market itself starts leaving clues.
And the biggest clue, the smoking gun, is something traders call the volatility smile. See, if the model was right and volatility was constant, you'd get a flat line if you plotted it out. But that's not what we see, not at all. Instead, the market gives us this curve, a smile or maybe more of a smirk. And that smirk is the market's way of screaming at us, "Hey, I don't believe your constant volatility nonsense." It's the market pricing in the very real risk of extreme, crazy events.
And here's exactly why that smile exists. The model totally misses what we call fat tails, which is just a fancy way of saying that wild, extreme market crashes and huge rallies happen way more often than the model predicts. It misses jump risk, those sudden, shocking price gaps, and it misses the fact that huge down days are more common than huge up days. So what does this all mean? It means the model consistently, dangerously underprices the risk of a total disaster.
And this isn't just theory. Look at this number. During the 2008 financial crisis, the model was off by over 100% for a lot of options.
right when everyone needed it to be accurate the most. When its perfect world assumptions were shattered, it failed. And it failed spectacularly.
Okay, so this brings us to a really fascinating question. A paradox, really. If the model is built for a perfect world that we know doesn't exist, and if we know it can be so spectacularly wrong, then why? Why is it still seen as an absolute cornerstone of modern finance?
The reason is that its real legacy goes way beyond just spitting out a price. The Black-Scholes model gave the entire market a universal language to talk about risk. You know, the Greeks, like delta, gamma, theta. It gave us the fundamental logic for how to hedge that risk, and it became the ultimate benchmark. It's the starting point that every single other, more complicated option model is measured against.
You see, the model's flaws didn't make it useless. They actually inspired its evolution. Its limitations are the very reason we have other models today, like the binomial model, which can handle things like early exercise and changing volatility. So, you got to think of Black-Scholes not as the final answer, but as the essential, revolutionary first question that made all the other answers possible.
And that's where we'll leave it. The Black-Scholes model is the perfect story of an idea that was, on paper, flawed, but in practice was absolutely revolutionary. It proves that sometimes the most valuable ideas aren't the ones that get everything perfectly right. They're the ones that give us a powerful new lens to see the world, a foundation that we can all build on. So it makes you wonder, right? What is the true value of a wrong idea? Maybe it's all the better ideas it forces us to create.